Gilpin with McCown in the backfield. He'll drop straight back. Decides to tuck it and run. And he can run well. He hits a volley in the flat, who carries it up over the 45 for a first down. He picks up about 3 additional yards beyond the line he needed. One receiver here on the near side, 3 at the top of the formation. They're going to bring Castilleja in motion. He turns back around, heads the other way. Gilpin drops back, looking for somebody to hit. He spins around to his left, still looking to throw. Pass complete to McCown, who'll pick up a first down out of the backfield in Blazer territory at the 42. Gilpin not quite ready for the snap. Fakes it, keeps it to the left. Breaks the tackle, cuts up at the 40. Carries it near the 35. Is going to be stopped just shy of the first down. Great heads-up play there by Gilpin. They'll bring a man in motion. There's the snap. Now hand it to McCown going. Welcome, everyone, to SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm joined by Coach Joe Austin. How are you this evening, Coach?
Doing real well, thanks.
Doing real well. We had an exciting game trip to Jackson, Mississippi, and I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about that if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Your Pirates, they performed really well in all the facets of the game. There were big plays from your special teams and equally as big plays and series from both your offense and defense. So give us your overall thoughts on the performance of your team by unit, starting with the special teams.
Well, I thought it was good. Are we going to finish the highlight pack, or is that all we're going to show? Or
I'm not sure. I think there was a bit of a miscommunication between me and the producer.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit, and then if we can, let's show those.
Yeah, that's
it's a really good edited package, and it really sets up the guests that we have coming on.
Okay.
So I got distracted. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Yeah, I talked about the performance of the 3 phases of your team, the special teams, the offense, and the defense. There were big plays by all 3 units and really big series from your defense and offense, especially late, keeping possession of the football, things like that. Talk about each of those units and how well they performed on Saturday.
Sure. Let's begin with our defense. We struggled in week 1 of staying on top of pass routes. We gave up long plays, long post routes. This week we did a fantastic job of staying on top. 20 yards was our longest pass play. And so we didn't give him big chunks. We did a really great job on the back end. Up front, we actually didn't play as well as we played the week before. We had a couple communication errors. We didn't fit the run scheme as well. But to give Belhaven credit, they were a really big physical football team. I won't tell the coach's name, but we were talking on the way home. If we were playing a pickup basketball game and our guys lined up and their guys lined up,
right,
they're picking a lot of guys before our guys get picked. I mean, they were a big, fast, physical football team. So credit to us for beating them. But they got off the football. They were a handful. Their quarterbacks could run. 2 of the most talented running backs in the entire conference. And so I think our defense did a really good job of limiting them, making them work hard, and staying on top of routes, which was excellent. Offensively, we got off to a fast start. We took the lead, and it kind of, I think, just set the tone. It calmed everybody down. No secret that our offense played really bad against Cal Lutheran. So to come out, our defense forced a punt. Our offense drove it down and scored. I think there was a collective sigh of relief that, hey, we're a pretty good football team. We're going to be right here all day. The first half was frantic.
Yes,
we had to use all of our timeouts to get people lined up. There were all kinds of weird situations. So when we came in at halftime, I just said, guys, let's just take a big, deep breath. We got about 12 minutes here to relax and get with our coaches. In their locker room, they didn't have any whiteboards, so we're drawing on the glass windows, which isn't vandalism. You can wipe it right off. Right. We're trying to figure out places to draw plays. They've got us in an old gym. So it was just a frantic situation. We calmed down. We came out in the second half, got up by 2 touchdowns. The great thing is we never trailed. It was tied 0-0. It was tied 14-14, but we never trailed in the ballgame, which was awesome. And our special teams, and the guy that's going to come on tonight was one of the better performers, but lots of guys did really well. It was J.J. Slack. He recovered a fumbled punt. He blocked an extra point. He blocked a punt and returned it for a touchdown. Not a bad stat line.
No, not
he was
at all.
on the D3Football.com National Team of the Week. Of course, Landry Gilpin will be on the show tonight, too. Both of those guys were ASC Conference Players of the Week. Really good team effort. A lot of guys played well. But I'll tell you what, I'm glad it was a 60-minute game. If it was 65 or 70, we were getting tired. We were pushing against a lot of big dudes all night. And to our credit, we got done in regulation, because if it had gone to overtime, I mean, it is to say it. I don't think it's. I'm not knocking our team.
Right.
We went as hard as we could for 60 minutes, and I'm glad it just took 60, because they were a big, physical, good football team. It's one of those games where if you have the ball in overtime, you probably go for 2 and go for the win on the road versus trying to make the game go longer, because we had our hands full. Physical football team.
Well, and you're limited with a travel squad compared to their home squad, where they can bring out their entire roster, and that adds additional element of depth that they have that you have to compete against. So you would have had to certainly dig deep there if it did go into extra time. So how big is this win to open ASC play against one of the top teams in the conference?
They're a very good team. I can't give them enough credit. We talked last week about how they had their entire team back from last year. They beat us 21-7 in the spring, and they gave all their players free grad school. So, of course, everybody came back. They did not expect to lose to us. They were very confident. They should have been confident. They were picked to finish high in our league. Mm-hmm. And so it was a great win to get, especially following the so-so performances that we had at the Cal Lutheran game. I thought it was a really good way to get refocused. We had a much better week of practice. We shook off the Cal Lutheran trip really well. We got to work, and I think that showed. I also thought that as the players approached to the game on game day, their focus, their attention to detail was so much better. Our guys get distracted sometimes. They think that being in the locker room before the game is time to do karaoke and dance around, and they're not thinking about what they're supposed to do. But we shut off all the music. We shut off all the distractions. We had them be silent on the bus on a Saturday morning, and we said, guys, we drove to Jackson, Mississippi to play football, not to dance around in the locker room. We can dance all you want after the game. And they danced plenty, believe me. It took forever to get in the shower and go back to the hotel. Couldn't care less. I'll sit there all night and let them do that.
That makes it a lot easier.
We're going to dance after the game. We're going to focus on Belhaven before the game and during the game, and then we're going to really enjoy the heck out of it afterwards.
Well, and you spoke about it a little bit earlier, the chaotic nature, especially of the first half. But in football games by nature are chaotic. How do you control what's going on the sidelines and keep the different units paying attention to know when it's time to run out for a punt or it's time to run out a block kick unit or something like that?
A really good question. It's preparation. We practiced at Belhaven Friday evening. We left Friday morning, drove over, got over there, and had our quick practice on Friday night. And we did a substitution review. We call it substitution drill. You run out your punt team. You run out your second punt team. You run out all the groups. It was a mess. Luckily, it was a night game. We went back to Belhaven Saturday morning. We did the same thing again, and we got it right. We didn't make any mistakes, which was good because we had a lot of situations going on. At the end of the game, we might need to use our hands team, and we had them all ready. They were there. We didn't need to use them, but we didn't make any errors all night. Where after the Friday practice, which this week we won't have a chance to do it twice.
Right.
No, I guess we could bring the guys in early and do it again Saturday if we need to. But on Friday, we didn't do a great job with the substitutions. We had guys missing their calls on special teams. But we came back Saturday morning. Everyone was focused. Everything was perfect. And that's how they did it in the game.
Now, maybe this is my perception. I've been through the spring doing the broadcasts, was the sideline reporter for a couple of seasons before. But it appears to me that there's more depth in your squad this season than in the past couple of seasons. Is that true? And if so, how do you prepare those 2s and 3s to be ready to go in the game at a moment's notice with an injury or someone not performing?
I think particularly on defense, we feel like we have more depth than we've had. Time will tell. I don't know how many first-team all-conference guys we have. But we've got a lot of guys that can play football in our league. and I feel like we're too deep at a lot of positions. I think the competition's great. If you don't get it done, I heard last night on Monday Night Football, Travis Kelce from the Chiefs was talking about their film sessions called Tell the Truth Tuesday, because the video doesn't lie.
It does not.
It doesn't lie. So there is depth, and there's competitions at a lot of places. And I think specifically with our defense, that's a situation that we're in, and it's really working out. Unfortunately, offensively, we've lost 2 starters on the offensive line. We've lost a starting slot receiver. We're getting a little more thin there. But I think we started with enough depth where as of now we can fill in. If we have more injuries on the offensive line, more injuries at our slot receiver position, then things could get a little bit dicey. But I think we're starting the season with a little bit better depth than maybe we've had over the last couple seasons.
Excellent. Now I'm going to ask you a non-football related question, and this is one that I often think about because there's a lot of slick uniform combinations that you guys roll out for Saturday games. How is that chosen? Who decides, are we going to wear black on black? We're going to wear the yellows? Are we going to wear white on black? Who chooses that? Is that the players, or is that something you do?
We've got a leadership group called our Players Association. They named it. It's kind of like the NFL Players Association.
Right.
They're kind of like the reps for the team. I thought they did a great job picking the name for it. And they're the players that applied to be captains. Last spring, I asked players to apply to be captains, send me their resume, tell me the things they've done in a leadership capacity, the things they'd like to do in a leadership capacity. From that, I chose our 2 captains. But all the players that applied, there were 9 of them, I thought they all had the ability to be a part of a good leadership group. So we define leadership as service.
Yes,
our leaders are the folks that do things for other people, not that get stuff done for them. So, for example, they're out in Georgetown distributing all these poster schedules. They went and took T-shirts out to all of our corporate partners. They've got a lot of responsibility within our football program. But on the flip side, they have a lot of control and a lot of input. And so they pick our uniform combinations. I tell them what the jersey color needs to be, right, home and away. Some weeks our golds are in play if the other team doesn't have gold. So I kind of give them the jersey option, and then as far as picking all the other things to the undershirts and the pants and the sock color, that's one of the benefits that they have by being leaders on our team, being servant leaders on our team. They get the benefit of having input on that.
Well, and we interviewed your offensive and defensive captains in an earlier episode, and you can see the leadership from those young men. So, and your team is loaded with them. So, Coach, what we'll do here is we'll take a break. We'll watch the highlight video in its entirety. It's about 7 minutes long. And when we come back, we'll speak to Landry Gilpin first, and then we'll take a break again, and we'll speak to J.J. Slack. So stay tuned to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Gilpin with McCown in the backfield. He'll drop straight back. Decides to tuck it and run, and he can run well. He hits a volley in the flat, who carries it up over the 45 for a first down. He picks up about 3 additional yards beyond the line he needed. One receiver here on the near side, 3 at the top of the formation. They're going to bring Castilleja in motion. He turns back around, heads the other way. Gilpin drops back, looking for somebody to hit. He spins around to his left, still looking to throw. Pass complete to McCown, who'll pick up a first down out of the backfield in Blazer territory at the 42. Gilpin not quite ready for the snap. Fakes it, keeps it to the left. Breaks the tackle, cuts up at the 40. Carries it near the 35. Is going to be stopped just shy of the first down. Great heads-up play there by Gilpin. They'll bring a man in motion. There's the snap. Now handed to McCown going this way. He cuts up, picks up the first down over the 30. Breaks the tackle there and spins down towards the 26-yard line for a first down Pirates. Gilpin along with Oken in the backfield. He'll take the snap. Gilpin drops back, rolls to his right, tucks it, cuts inside. He's up over the 20-15, inside the 10 for a first down and goal from the 10-yard line. So bring Castilleja in motion. There's the snap. Landry hits Castilleja in the flat. He cuts up to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Pirates! They brought Castilleja in motion, faked a handoff to him. Landry looked downfield to hold the safety for a second, then flipped it out in the flat. And Austin Castilleja has too much speed on the edge for the Blazers as he gets the early score for the Pirates here. Herbst takes the snap, moves to his left. It's a nice kickoff. It's going to bounce and be fielded. Ball's on the ground as the fielder, number 13, tried to get it. It looks like the Pirates may have it. That's Michael Simpson to try to make a play, and it is Pirate football deep in Blazer territory at the 27-yard line. They bring Castilleja in motion. They send him back to where he came from. Gilpin rolls that way, then rolls back to his right. Looking downfield, wings it downfield on the edge. Pass is caught. And that is Eric Ovale, who's having a great game so far, the senior. Picks up a first down. Single back set. Tight formation. They fake to him. Moore has to roll to his right. He's going to hustle for the corner. He's in for the score. Travis Moore spins his way inside the pylon to give the Pirates a 13-6 lead, point after attempt pending with 9:27 remaining here in the first half. Foley in motion. There's the snap. Osagunya drops back, and he's sacked again as he releases the ball. This time, number 90. That's Noah Clarkson, the 6', 237-pound senior out of Magnolia. There's the snap. Osagunya rolls to his left. Has to set up, and he's tackled right at the line of scrimmage by number 17 for the Pirates, Alex Gomez. And the Pirates will have 1st and 10 as they stop that drive by the Blazers. I'm sure the Blazers saw that on film. He's going to throw instead. Pass is complete. It's a first down to the midfield into Blazer territory at the 44 as Herbst, instead of running, finds the open receiver, number 39, Cameron Kimball. And the Pirates have a first down in Blazer territory at the 43-yard line. Fake to Castilleja. Gilpin keeps to the left. Cuts up at the 10-5. He's in for the score. Pirates on top, 20-14, with 10-10 remaining in the third quarter. Trying to spread the defense out. Osagunya takes the snap, drops straight back. Has to run because Foley was covered. He's able to juke a couple of guys, but Bernard Century's there to clean it up. Looking to pass, and he's sacked. Number 94, Jason Lund, the 6', 222-pound defensive end out of Azle, Texas, gets a sack. Fake to both running backs. Pass is dropped, intended for Simpson. Good defense there by Elijah Norris, senior out of Bernie. The punt is blocked, and it's caught by J.J. Slack for a touchdown, Pirates. Another great special teams play by the Pirates. They'll bring Richardson in motion, send him back out. Gilpin throws it complete for a first down to number 84, Ethan Powell, and he breaks a couple of tackles up over midfield for a first down, and he gets up and gives that first down signal a la Michael Irvin from the 90s Cowboys. Take the snap, and Gilpin will flip it out to Oken, who'll pick up the first down and more. Richardson in motion. There's the snap. Gilpin rolls to his right. To in the back corner for Castilleja. Touchdown, Pirates! Deep pass from Gilpin to Castilleja in the back corner of the end zone. Nice drag pattern along the back goal line. And the Pirates extend their lead 34-20 with 9:26 remaining in the game.
Really great effort. Really great effort. Just the resilience and the fact that we were in for the whole game as long as it took. The positivity was great. We were more focused today. We had a better week of practice. So I think in all areas we made some progress. And we still have work to go, but that's a good football team we beat. They're going to win some games this year. They're going to be a winning football team, and we beat them at home.
Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. That, of course, the highlights from Saturday's game at Belhaven. You had a couple of those in that reel there, didn't you, Landry?
Yes, sir.
And that's who we have here tonight, Landry Gilpin for segment 2, the quarterback for the Southwestern University Pirates. And got some questions for you, Landry. As quarterback, you know, you're expected to be a team leader, and we've talked a little bit about team leaders with Coach earlier, but you're expected to be a team leader both on and off the field. So give us your thoughts on the additional expectations of your position and how you hold yourself and others accountable to the team.
Being the quarterback, you're definitely going to have the expectation to the team because you're a leader by position. You're a leader to the team because by default.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely something that you have to carry with you everywhere you go. You can't just be a leader on the football field. You can't just be a leader in the locker room. You have to do that on campus, just in life in general. And, I mean, it's just you can't take it for granted either. You have the eyes of your team looking at you, watching you, and, I mean, you lead by example. You treat people the way that you want them to treat others. You do things you want your teammates to do for you. And in the end, the way that you lead is just a product of what the team's going to be.
Well, and ultimately, besides even representing your team and your teammates, your coaching staff, you're representing an entire university and really the city of Georgetown. So, and I think you've done an excellent job to this point.
Thank you.
So, at quarterback, as on the field, you have a lot of weapons at your disposal, especially this season. You got a lot of receivers. You got some pretty good running backs to draw on. So tell us about your skill guys and how important you think they are to the offensive success of this squad.
Their importance is, I mean, it's crazy to think that we have such a talented skill set from our receivers. Everything they do is just we rely on them for so much, and they come ready to work every day. They come ready to just put in the grind for us, and we're definitely blessed to have them, but you can't overlook what our line does for us as well. Just as important as our skill positions. They go in there and they're not getting the glory. They're not getting all the highlights. They're not getting basically any reward.
The only time their name is called is when there's a penalty.
Yeah, when there's a penalty. So they get the heat of it. But definitely everybody that goes into what our offense is doing is so important to what we're trying to do as a team. And, I mean, I'm just so grateful to have a group of guys that are just willing to put in that work for the benefit of this team.
Well, and the question I asked was obviously about the skill guys, and you included the O-lineman, which really it dovetails right into my next question, which pertains to the O-line. There seems to be a little more depth on the O-line, but there's a lot of youth up there. But you have a couple of experienced guys as well. So what's the importance of the older linemen kind of taking the younger guys under their wing and you know, teaching them what's required of them to perform at a high level for the Pirate?
I think that just like it is at every level, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, the young guys are going to come in and they're going to look to the old guys for advice just because they have that experience. They know what they're doing. They've been through it before. And so it's really important as an older player on the team and as an upperclassman to take those younger guys and just, I mean, they're just there looking to do a great job of helping out the younger guys. There's no jealousy. There's no hate towards anybody just because the younger guy's getting playing time. The older guys still treat them the same, and that's, I mean, that's just really a tribute to this team and this program and what they do.
Yes,
they build really good character guys, and so despite where you're at, despite what you're doing for the team, you're contributing in a way that is really important, whatever the role is.
Well, and those young guys, this is a whole new experience for them, not only as a football team that travels a couple of states for a couple of pre-conference game, or one pre-conference and one early conference game, but they have to deal with school and going to class, and even being on the road trip. They have to make sure that they're ready whenever the agenda and the itinerary says they need to be ready for whatever that is. And so some of the older guys really have to step up and make sure they're doing what they need to.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit more about you, though, instead of all the other guys. Everyone is subject, obviously, to intensive preparation during a game week. But the quarterback position, generally, it's more intensive and arguably more significant of a preparation. So how do you manage this preparation to ensure you're addressing your school responsibilities, your leadership responsibilities, and family, things like that?
Definitely, school always comes first.
Do you sleep?
Yes, sir. Try to get as much as I can, but
right.
Definitely school comes first, no matter what. The coaches know that. The team knows that. As an individual, you should know that, because, that's why you're here. You're here at Southwestern to get an education, and the coaches are really good about understanding that, and they plan around your school schedule. They give you enough time to get your study in. They give you enough time to make sure you got your homework done, and then you prepare for the week. And that's when you start making your extra meetings. You start scheduling things where you're going to go into the field house and get some extra time in to watch film, to prepare. And that's just a good understanding from our coaches, a good understanding from what we have to do as students first and then as players.
Well, as quarterback, you have a lot of insight into the team chemistry, the attitude, general relationship with one another. So how close is this team, given all that it's gone through with COVID in the spring, missing last fall and it getting rescheduled to the spring, and then a couple of travel games, all the preparation for this? Talk about that.
If there's one thing that I know, football can be very humbling. You can have all these things go wrong. You can have COVID restrictions. You can have a bad season. But when you have a group of guys that's willing to stay together and put the work in and not just give up on everything, not give up on what the bigger picture is, you become close. You become brothers. And I know it's cliche to say, oh, all teams are brothers and everything, but I think this team takes it a step further, and we actually do what you would do with your brother. You hang out outside of school. You hang out outside of the team, and you build a relationship that's going to last for a long time. And in the end, we're all here for a reason. We're all playing football for a reason. We're shooting for things that, none of us have experienced before. And I think that it's really important to note that. Definitely.
So a little more personal question. I know you still have a couple more years of football to play here, but talk about what your major is and what your plans are beyond Southwestern when you go into the world as a Southwestern man.
My whole life I've been surrounded by football. I became a kinesiology major because, that's something that I've always been interested in, how the body works, what to do. But in the end, I wanted to become a coach like my father is at the high school level. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be able to work under him until I was experienced enough to be able to take over a program on my own. That's still my goal. That's still something that I want to do and I look forward to every day.
Well, I commend you on that Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center, and we'll be right back and talk to JJ Slack. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Now we're joined with J.J. Slack. Hey, J.J., welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you.
J.J. had a pretty big game. Coach mentioned all the accolades he got from the conference this week. But let's talk a little bit about your career. You've excelled and contributed in many phases of the game for the Southwestern University Pirates, offense, defense, and special teams. So what are some of your favorite memories from your time with each of those units? You know, you can start in whatever order you want.
Let's see. I'll start with special teams just because it's the most recent, I guess.
Yeah, it's a pretty special moment on Saturday.
As a freshman, that was kind of my my way of into a starting position, whether it be offense or defense. I kind of got known
it's a way to make a name for yourself.
Without a
for
doubt.
sure.
I mean, for special teams, it's all about hustle. Whether you're fast, it doesn't matter as long as you're hustling. Get down and tackle. I remember my freshman year against Louisiana College, first home game, home opener, first conference game, and I think it was like our second kickoff. I go down and I realize I'm the first guy down. And he cuts back into me, and I put my helmet on the football, and it pops out. And I remember Chris Crawford comes up with the ball, and as a freshman, I just lost in the moment and got a big old high five from Coach Austin. I thought it was the coolest thing ever, being a freshman. You get head coaches over there high five me. They had to kind of calm me down on the sidelines, and it was a surreal moment for sure. And then this time for sure, I've never done anything like that personally. I mean, I've blocked kicks in my life, but never multiple, I would say. And had a kind of a game-changing thing, in my opinion. The touchdown thing, that was surreal, and everybody wouldn't stop talking about it for about 2 minutes. And I remember Coach Jones would be like, "Hey, that play's over." And I was like, "You're right."
We still got a lot of
football
football
we got
left
a lot
to
of
play.
football left. And but no, those two for special teams for sure. And then I would say defense for me goes back to my freshman year. I got moved to safety for the last 2 games of the season due to people getting injured, and we were playing Hardin Simmons, and supposed to be one of the best offenses in the country that year. And for the first half, I think we held them really, really nice, and I had I think like 12 tackles in the first half or something like that, and it felt pretty cool as a freshman to go in against one of the top.
Yeah, that's a lot of
top
tackles
offenses
for
in
a
the
game.
country.
That's a lot of tackles. So, well, let's talk about a couple of seasons ago. The Pirates, which will happen from time to time in football, had just a rash of injuries at the quarterback position. And I was the sideline reporter, had no clue. I'm on the field, and I look on the field, and I'm like, who's playing quarterback? And I'm looking on the roster, and I'm like, that guy's the safety. So talk about that a little bit, how you were able to just, you played pretty well considering. So give us some thoughts on that.
No, I mean, I've played quarterback all my life. Growing up since Pee Wee, I was a quarterback, played safety, and high school went through quarterback, played safety in high school, and came here kind of as a wide receiver slot guy because I was more of a mobile guy. I like to run the ball. I like being the guy with the ball in his hands, making plays. So, and then our first, second, and third string that year got hurt, and then I get called in the office the next day saying, "Hey, we're gonna put you at quarterback this week." And I was like, "Coach, I don't know none of the footwork. No, he said, "All right, well, we got to rep it through practice," and it was all week. It was meetings 3 times a day. It was working on footwork twice a day plus practice. It was trying to get ready for that moment, and then once that moment came, it was second nature.
All that practice paid off, huh?
And I think my first game I started at quarterback was actually against UMHB my freshman year. So it's kind of full cycle now.
It's something that'll wake you up for sure.
Without a doubt.
Okay, well, which of the positions is your favorite? You mentioned the excitement of special teams, but the special teams plays are limited in most games, and you'll get more plays on either offense or defense. Which do you prefer?
I get asked this question a lot, actually. So preferably, this is probably going to not make Coach Kriesel happy, but I prefer when I was playing quarterback, just because I'd done it all my life. It's kind of like a habit, I guess.
Right.
I don't know, but on the other hand, I like hitting people more.
Yeah,
than-
you can tell that you like to hit people.
It's like an itch I couldn't scratch. Especially last spring, I didn't get to play football because I was playing baseball as well, and so the whole getting to hit people. I didn't get to hit people that year, so I kind of was like an itch I couldn't scratch.
Right. Well, and let's talk about that a little bit, because that's one of my questions here. You're a dual sport athlete. So ultimately, when you're in college and you're playing any sport, time's a premium. And we talked to Landry a little bit about it as well. So how do you manage football, baseball, school, in a social life if you have one?
Well, my social life is kind of ties into both sports that I play, really. I mean, the guys that I hang out with, all the people that I hang out with, they're all of my teammates, for football or for baseball. It doesn't matter when and where. I mean, I know I can call up any of them anytime I'm in trouble, anytime I need help, or anytime I just want, not to be alone, I guess.
Right. Play video games
Yeah,
with
play
somebody.
video games or something. And I was a multi-sport athlete in high school and had to deal with school, homework, all this stuff and everything. So transitioning to college, the classes get a little harder and more strenuous, and but the time management kind of didn't really change for me. I guess it kind of, like I said, felt like second nature, going from one sport to another. And this past year with the whole COVID situation, it actually was the first time I've ever had an off season, and it was kind of weird. Like during the fall, I wasn't doing anything. I was getting ready for baseball, which I've never had a chance to do before, and it was just kind of weird for me not being able to, like be in an active sport, I would guess you would say. But from transitioning from high school to college, it was the time management part wasn't really a big deal. It was just actually the classes.
Well, that's probably not the case for most students, because most students will coast through high school and then get into college, and it's a little bit of a rude awakening because they expect you to do the work in college. So what position do you play in baseball?
I'm a pitcher.
You're a pitcher?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pitcher only. So.
Only? Is you a reliever or a starter?
I mixed in both.
Mixed
I started some games early in the season, and I was a early relief towards the conference tournament.
Okay. Let's go back to football a little bit. Now, during that season, or I've read, at least in a couple of the releases from the school, that you received a team honor a couple of years ago. Talk about that a little bit.
My freshman year, I was blessed with the honor of being team MVP, voted by my teammates, which was, as a freshman, I didn't think I was gonna have that opportunity, I would guess, and it was very surreal, especially in the moment, especially with seniors that year like David Brandenburg,
right,
and Garrett Walmack. I think those are the other two nominees, and those two guys are, all decade team,
right.
like just. I remember David Brandenburg was the guy that I was kind of like looking up to as a freshman. Yeah. And to receive that honor, it was just a blessing in every single way. Well,
and it puts the bar even higher for you as you've got a couple more seasons to go till you graduate. And speaking of other recognition, you probably are aware you were on the KView Sportscast this weekend. They showed the block punt and you catching it for a touchdown over and over and over. What are your thoughts on that, being a local TV celebrity?
Oh, that's actually awesome. I was just talking to Coach Austin over there about it, and he asked me if I saw it, and I said, yes, sir. I saw it I actually saw it on Twitter. I didn't even see it on TV, and then I went back and looked through the TV in my living room and went through past broadcast or whatever, and I saw it, and I just thought it was pretty cool. I didn't even really know that station was here, and so just to be on it, and everybody started telling me I was on it, and I was like, what are y'all talking about? And I scrolled through Twitter, and I'm like, oh, hey.
That must be a generational thing, because everything is watched on Netflix and Hulu instead of like us old folks. We still watch the local channels. So I want to wish you luck for Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming out, and we'll be right back and talk to Coach Austin about the upcoming University of Mary Hardin-Baylor game here on SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Stay with us. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Coach, you want to give us your thoughts on those two intelligent players that came up here and spoke to us, Landry Gilpin and J.J. Slag?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They did a great job. I was going to talk about them, but I guess they're walking away back there. They got better things to do than finish watching the show. So you mentioned J.J. was elected as a freshman as our team MVP. And then last year all 21 sports at Southwestern were playing at the same time, and he wanted to go be a left-handed pitcher. And I keep telling him, your fastball has no movement. Your curveball just spins over the plate, and your sliders are in the dirt. So just come block punts and tackle people, and we'll use you all over the place.
Right.
He's not listening to me. He wants to keep trying to do both. I mean that jokingly.
Right.
But not really. And Landry Gilpin, I mean, can you imagine the pressure that someone that wins the Mr. Texas Football Award is under to perform?
Definitely.
In college. I was on Craig Way's show today. Craig Way, Hall of Fame broadcaster. Of course, he knows Landry, followed Landry, been talking about him for years. And Landry didn't have a great game out in California. And I think he got taken out of a game for the first time in his life. Mm-hmm. And that can go one of two ways. You can respond as a competitor. You can respond as an adult, or you can fold up or start blaming other folks and looking all over. And to come back from being benched for the first time in his life, to handle it the way he handled it, to take the coaching that he took and the instruction he took, and then to come back and be the conference player of the week the next week. I mean, how much respect you have to have for that guy?
You have to have a lot. That's awesome.
I mean, that's an unbelievable performance to handle the pressure he's under just with what his name is in Texas football, and then to come back. And so I had a lot of respect for him already, but, I mean, the grit and the diligence that guy showed last week was truly amazing.
Well, and as a broadcaster and having the opportunity to travel with the team over the last couple of weekends, and they were long weekends. I'm not accustomed to those at my age these days, but you can see the leadership from many of the players, but these two gentlemen that came in here tonight especially, the respect from the other players is obvious. Well, let's talk a little bit about Mary Hardin-Baylor. We won't spend too much time on them because I know you don't want to give up any details of plans of attack or anything like that, but it's a big home opener for the school this season, as well as the home ACS opener. And we're playing the number 1 rated team in the country in Division III in Mary Hardin-Baylor. How's your team approach preparation this week?
Hopefully no different. I mean, we try to approach every game the same. Every game is our biggest game we've ever played. The process of what we do from a practice and meeting and weightlifting and hydration and nutrition standpoint should be the same way every week. I mean, they all know who we're playing.
Sure.
They know who we're playing every week. I mean,
right.
There's so much information out there now, right? I mean, they can find all kinds of stats and videos and highlights, and they probably talk to guys on the team. It's just the nature of, social media and all the things that are available now. You don't have to tell them we're playing the team that's ranked number 1. They already know.
Right.
And so hopefully we do a great job with our process this week to give us the best chance to have a good game possible.
Well, and ultimately in a game like this, you can be competitive and you want to give yourself an opportunity to win late. In order to do that, you need to try to slow down that Mary Hardin-Baylor offense. So how's the defense going to approach that this week without giving away any secrets?
Well, it's a big challenge because their athletes all over the place are great. Their slot receivers are unbelievably fast. And then they have really, really gigantic, like the guy on the Green Giant that's the guys that are split out playing wide receiver for them. And then their offensive line is experienced and physical, and their quarterback is able to run this year, and that's a dynamic they haven't had as much for the last few years. So you're always a man short because you need to have an extra man on the perimeter to account for their slots and their screen game, and then when you move that guy out, then there's no one to account for the quarterback, so you move them back in, and then they've got their screen game. So it's tough to be everywhere at once with a team that's as talented as them, and that's a challenge that we're facing is to kind of hedge our bets and cover as many things as possible. Really, what I'm surmising is you have to make them work. You have to stay in front of them as much as you can. See if they'll stub their toe every now and then, throw an incompletion or not block a run play really well and try to get some help from them, so to speak. But I think we're going to try to fit the run really well. We don't want to let folks run on us, and then we want to stay in front of them. If they're going to complete passes and slowly go down the field, so be it. You can't stop everything, but we're going to try to stop the run. We're going to try to take away long completions down the field, and I think that's the best formula defensively that we can have.
We'll give them an opportunity to make a mistake, because even the best athletes and the number of talented kids, given the opportunity over a number of plays, the chance is there that they're going to make a mistake, and then you just need to capitalize.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, over an 8, 10, 12 play drive, most offenses are going to make a mistake and give you a chance to get them into third and long, or then maybe mistakes on third down to get them off the field. So that will be the strategy. We just want to make them work really hard, give them long fields. We want to do really well in special teams game. We want to do well in our kickoffs. We want to do well in our punt game, and make them work hard from a defensive perspective.
Well, and we talked a little bit about the Belhaven game and the need to keep it in regulation, having a travel squad and them having their full squad here. Mary Hardin Baylor is probably one of the deeper teams that we'll face in any given season. How important is conditioning and the ability to have them here at home with as much depth as you can have available to you?
Hopefully getting into week 3, we're getting our legs underneath us. And we don't have to travel as far. And there's no doubt that, the travel's tough. I mean,
it is.
Even if you're 20, when you sit on the airplane and sit on the bus, I mean, your feet swell a little bit, your legs get tight. There's definitely a challenge to that. But, to be honest, once we get past our top 56 or 60, the other guys that weren't on the Belhaven trip, it's going to be tough for them to go in and play against these guys. So I think our 2 deep depth, which you talked about, will be really key. We're going to play a lot of different guys on defense, and I think that will be helpful for us. But I think hopefully having them at home and not much travel. But really, going up there is only half an hour either way. So when you play those guys, travel and any rigors of travel really isn't a factor.
Well, we've talked a little bit about how defensively you're going to try to deal with Mary Hardin Baylor. Let's talk about how you're going to attack their defense. And I'll just leave it open for you to give us your thoughts.
No, I thought maybe you had some ideas. They're the fastest football team in Division III. They are every year. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure you're getting some first downs on your drives. Mm-hmm. That way you can, if you have to punt, you can get a longer field, and then eventually the more you move down the field, then you can kind of do more things. Once you get to a position where you can give them an 70, 80, 90 yard field on a punt, then really the pressure is off of you. You can try to attack and you can work downfield. Last year we had a 50, 60-yard touchdown pass against them because we're in a position where if we had to punt, we're going to be able to put them down inside their 20. And to give them, as I said before, a 70, 80, 90-yard field is a really good way to start with those things. So I think that'll be the key for our offense is if we can get some first downs, get some momentum going, and then the further we go down the field, there's no pressure on us to throw the ball or run the ball or do whatever we think the best way is to start getting more chunks as we go down the field. That's what we'll try to do.
Well, Coach, do you have any closing thoughts for tonight's show?
Looking forward to the home opener and having fans back at Birkelbach. It's been a long time for that. I know folks are chomping at the bit. Another great crowd here tonight. We've got tickets and hats and posters, and our fans and our corporate partners are all ready to be back to football. And if you've watched SportsCenter, ESPN, if you watch KView, I know what KView is. I was telling JJ, that's ABC. Well, he's like, what's KView?
It's like
it's ABC. It's what Monday Night Football was on. He's streaming it on some ESPN app or whatever.
Exactly.
I was like, JJ, on Monday night, KView plays our highlights after Monday Night Football. On Sunday night, KI, CBS, or NBC is I said I know them all. KXAN,
yes.
Yep, we're Adam Winkler. We're KXAN, plays our highlights after Sunday Night Football. It's like, come on, guys, figure it out. You asked me a question, and I got sidetracked again. Anyway, getting back to normal, having our parents come back, staying at the Sheraton, having fans at the stadium, just getting back to normal is going to be a really cool deal. And of course, it's a tough opponent to play, but we're getting back to normal. I think that's a really big key this weekend.
Well, and I honestly think that this team could play with any team on a given day, including Mary Hardin Baylor, and I wish you luck this Saturday evening, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, see, next time you should come out to SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center, because you just never know if Coach is going to bring free Southwestern University Pirate swag. So tune in next week for the show, and tune in Saturday evening for the broadcast if you can't make it to Birkelbach. And the only excuse is that you're on the other side of the country, because even Slim Fan will travel to California or Jackson, Mississippi to watch the Pirates live. And so we look forward to seeing you on Saturday night and next Wednesday. And thank you for listening and watching here on SHN Sports. We'll be back next week for SU Football Weekly, presented by Sheraton, Austin, Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center.
Hi, Mom.